Vanessa is looking down on ace-jack offsuit. Pre-flop is a quiet trap that Vanessa sets on purpose. Antonio opens the button light, which Vanessa flat calls from the small blind and Shaq completes. By not 3-betting, Vanessa keeps both dominated aces and splashy suited connectors in. Multiway, in position on Antonio and with Shaq behind. Ace-jack plays beautifully. She wants exactly this kind of pot. That's top pair, top kicker for Vanessa on a very wet texture. Instead of checking to the razor and risking a free card or a check-through three-way, she leads 165K. It's a protection lead that charges every draw and worse jack. Shaq's hand is the textbook, raise the donk, candidate, pair plus clubs plus straight equity. He bumps it to 400K, telling a story of strength while leaning on fold equity plus a ton of ways to improve. Vanessa just calls. No reason to blow up the pot against a range that includes bluffs and dominated value. And if she 3-bets, she mostly isolates the strongest stuff or gets shoved on by draws with tons of equity. Flat keeps the leash tight. Turn pairs the board. That card quietly helps Vanessa more than Shaq. Sets are less likely now. Her jack stays very live, and a bunch of Shaq's pair-based value gets neutered. He still has all the draws, though.
All in.
And Shaq shoves!
I call.
Vanessa calls! It's a 10!
That was not supposed to happen.
Negreanu is looking down on Jack 10 suited. Lichtenberger opens the hijack and both stacks behind are deep, so the pre-flop incentives matter. With aces, raising to 45K keeps in dominated broadways and pairs while leaving room to play streets post-flop instead of taking a huge 4-bet pot this close to the business end of a major event. Negreanu flats the cutoff with Jack 10 suited. Against a competent hijack opener and a sticky big blind, that hand prints by realizing equity rather than trying to 3-bet. If he 3-bets, he invites a 4-bet from value, folds out the weaker stuff he dominates, and risks playing a bloated pot with a hand that prefers multi-way, position, and disguised equity. D bleeds into 2 players. With top pair and a backdoor club, he denies overcards a free look and sets the price on a texture that can change quickly. Lichtenberger just calls with aces. That's deliberate, raising polarizes him on a wet board and risks pushing out Negreanu's dominated continues. With the ace of clubs, he blocks the nut flush, so he doesn't fear as many bad turns and can keep ranges wide. Negreanu's call with Jack 10 is standard. He has the clean open-ender to the nuts, excellent position, and 2 opponents who will pay him off if he hits. Turning this into a raise would fold out worse and isolate against the top of range. The 7 of clubs hits, and Negreanu picks up the straight at the same time the front door flush completes. Lichtenberger checks as well, which keeps his range disguised and preserves the option to spring a check raise. With aces that include the ace of clubs, he can induce a bet, choose between calling and jamming, and if he is behind, he carries 9 outs to the nuts. Negreanu fires 295K to tax everything at once. The bet extracts from 2 pairs and sets that fear a 4th club, charges single club over pairs that refuse to fold, and denies a cheap river to ace of clubs holdings that would love a free card. The sizing is intentional because it sets up a straightforward stack-off versus a check raise, and avoids giving a volatile river the chance to undo his equity lead.
Feeling comfortable right now. See? You can tell by my energy. Relaxed. What does that usually mean? Huh? What? Dang! As soon as I start yapping, he goes in. Oh, man.
Imagine that you are so good with the mind games that you can induce an all-in shove with just some yapping.
Tough decision. I'm gonna need a minute.
While we wait for Negreanu to make his decision, please give this video a like. Thank you.
Because you check the turn. I guess you do that with the ace-high flush, right? Well, you have to have it. I don't think I can fold, though. Nice hand, bro.
This part here was inaudible, but you can clearly see that he is saying deuce of hearts a few times.
Called the deuce of hearts. Were you hearing me saying deuce of hearts?
Trickett kicks things off with 6-5 of spades. This is an extremely speculative hand that aggressive players like Trickett love. Trickett has already raised $200,000, and our villain is considering his options.
That's 3. 335. 35.
With almost $200,000 already in the pot, paying $50,000 should be nothing. And our Bulgarian villain thinks the same as he calls with his Jack 7 of spades. The flop comes 2-9-3 with 2 spades. Now Trickett is hoping for the 4 of spades, and the Bulgarian is begging the dealer for almost any spade but the 4. After the villain shows weakness with his check, Trickett looks like he will take matters into his own hands. And he does exactly that, He fires a bet for $80,000, which is about 1/3 of the pot. Now the ball is in the court of the Bulgarian. I think his best option is to just call and play along for another card and hope it's a good spade. After some thoughtful consideration, he does the reasonable thing and calls to see the turn. Let's see how will that play out for him.
So we'll see the turn card, and it's the 4 of spades. Wow, what a card. That has made Sam Trickett a straight flush. He is absolutely unbeatable in this hand. And Igor Kurganov has got a jack-high flush, so he'll think that he's unbeatable.
This is what we call a cooler, Jono. All the chips are going into the middle. Sam has the absolute nuts. He's got the best hand possible.
The turn delivering the 4 of spade is the best thing that could have happened to Trickett, and the worst for the Bulgarian villain. Now he will think that he has a good flush when in fact he is drawing completely dead. With Trickett betting $180,000, the price of 1/3 of the pot is not too bad for a call here. What would you do in that position? Would you fold, or would you go all in? Let me know in the comments.
Call.
Daniel Negreanu is holding ace-10 suited. Pre-flop is all ego and leverage. Tony G opens small Houston flats, and Negreanu snaps on the squeeze to 7K.
Well, if at first you don't succeed,
You must.
you make it 7,000.
Perfect against 2 wide ranges. Tony G knows Houston's call is weak money and fires back to 24K with pocket 8s. Classic isolation and dare 4-bet. Negreanu takes the button, keeps Tony's bluffs in, and controls the pot. That flat says, I'll outplay you post-flop. Keep the range wide. Flop comes rainbow, Negreanu's dream in a 4-bet pot. Top pair, ace kicker, clean texture.
I'm all in.
Tony shoves.
Who cares? I guess you got, what do you have, kings now?
I'm committed again.
No, I know you are. Okay, you can show me one if you want.
Even if you gave me $1 million, I wouldn't show you.
$1 million? Oh boy, Tony G. I guess I should. You're a nice guy. You do good things with your money, right?
I do.
You do? All right, I'll give you some more, I guess. All right.
Daniel calls.
You have kings or something?
No, one time. No.
Jack of clubs on the turn.
Oh my God, did that make him more outs? Yeah. I just realized. Oh God, I was like, oh Jack, that's a good card.
The river. The king of hearts.
It's a scary one.
Selbst, sitting in the big blind, looks down at a pair of jacks. A strong but tricky hand in this scenario. Facing a raise and a 3-bet, she opts to flat call rather than 4-bet. While a 4-bet would help narrow the field and define her opponent's ranges, it could also bloat the pot and force her into tough post-flop spots if she's up against a hand like queens, kings, or aces. Her flat call allows her to control the pot size while disguising her hand strength, keeping her range wide enough to include potential traps. The flop lands Queen 2 Jack, and Selbst couldn't have asked for better. Her pair of jacks connects perfectly, giving her middle set and a commanding lead in the hand. Chen, holding ace-queen suited, flops top pair with backdoor flush and straight draws, making his hand strong but significantly vulnerable to Selbst's concealed strength. Selbst leads out with 80,000 bet, a sizing that achieves multiple goals. It builds the pot while extracting value from weaker hands like top pair or speculative holdings with equity. Importantly, her bet disguises her hand's full strength. Opponents may interpret it as a standard value bet, or even a semi-bluff. Chen, with top pair and additional equity from his backdoor draws, decides to call. From his perspective, Selbst's range from the big blind could include hands like king-queen, queen-jack, or even bluffs, making a fold too conservative. The turn changes the dynamics of the hand with the 8 of diamonds, creating a more draw-heavy board. Selbst still holds the lead with her set of jacks, but the new card introduces a flush draw and enhances the straight possibilities. She increases the pressure with a bet of 150,000. This bet is designed to charge draws like the nut flush and extract further value from hands like Chen's top pair. While the sizing is solid, Selbst may have missed an opportunity to go larger, putting Chen to an even tougher decision. Chen's ace-queen suited improves with the nut flush draw, making his hand significantly stronger in terms of potential equity. He calls the 150,000, which is the correct decision based on the pot odds and his outs to the nut flush. By calling, Chen keeps the pot manageable while preserving his chance to improve on the river. The river delivers the 7, completing Chen's nut flush with ace-queen suited and spelling disaster for Selbst. Unaware of Chen's exact holding but recognizing her set is still vulnerable, Selbst decides to shove all in. However, this move is a misstep. The shove assumes Chen might fold marginal holdings, but his turn call strongly represents a flush, especially the nut flush. A smaller bet, or even a cautious check, could have limited Selbst's losses given the dangerous board texture. Chen barely needs to think. With the nuts, his call is automatic. There's no possible hand on this board that can beat him. He confidently flips over his cards, claiming the massive pot, and leaving Selbst regretting her river shove.
She's in with sixes.
Jennifer Tilly kicks things off with pocket sixes. This is a decent hand to entertain a small raise with and see if luck is on your side.
Back on Arden. She calls the 3-bet as well, so 3-way to the flop. Oh my word, set over set and Griffin's flop top pair?
This is going to be bad for Griffin, but it's going to be real bad for Arden.
With the board that the flop delivers, everyone has something to bet about. But instead of that, Tilly and Cho decide to check. With that in mind, our weak top pair is trying to take control of the board by shooting a small bet of $2,500. Tilly is loving it because other than a set of kings, nothing else on the board beats her, and she would love to see this pot growing, so naturally she calls. Miss Cho, on the other hand, has a completely different plan. She is not waiting for the pot to grow. She is growing it herself. She does that by firing a $9,400 bet. Now Benger has a choice. Entertain this top pair, or realize the truth and just give up.
Why is he so serious? He's like a goober 99% of the time.
The angry man quickly decides to fold and not pursue the king. On the other hand, Tilly is more than happy to oblige Miss Cho by re-raising to $30,000 with her set of sixes.
Oh boy.
Jen re-raises $30,000.
At this point, Miss Cho should know the deep trouble she finds herself in, but still decides to go ahead and call on her set of fives. The turn delivers the 9 of clubs, a card that is completely irrelevant to both of them. If I was in the position of Tilly, I would be betting pot here. What would you? Let me know in the comments below. I guess Tilly is not so happy about my jamming suggestion, so she decides to check here and wait for something magical on river. Same thing for Miss Cho. In her case, though, that is in her favor.
And Arden spikes a 1-outer. She's got quads. Meanwhile, Jen has rivered a full house.
Buckle up, because this hand just went from pretty sick to absolutely bonkers.
People say patience is a virtue, but in Tilly's case, her patience came to bite her from behind. The river delivers the only card that can save Miss Cho, and that is the 5 of clubs. Now the only question is, will Tilly get baited by her now full house hand? Or will she read her for the quads Miss Cho has? And as we all thought she should do, Miss Cho goes.
There it is.
This is not good.
No, it sure isn't.
If Jen calls, this will be the biggest pot of the game.
Arnon, you have quads because I can't beat quads.
Does she know?
I don't think you have kings full. And I don't think you have nines full. You might have fives full.
That's a call.